Okay guys, we have a vocabulary video for you today, and it has 5 words. Said, asked, replied, whispered, and screamed. And these words all have to do with dialogue. They have to do with talking. Now, there's a couple differences. If I asked in English, did you do your homework? Okay. If I ask this question, if I'm speaking, it's just like this, but if it's in writing, there's special things that you have to do, and they're a little bit different than how you would do in French. In French, you use these guys for dialogue, right? In English, you don't. You use what you call quotation marks. Okay? Just like that. So these little 2 quotation marks. All right? I'm sure you've seen these before. Now, I've asked a question. Did you do your homework? So after your dialogue, it's when you would use these words. And these words are the way that you would say something. So here I've asked what I could say. She asked. Did you do your homework? She asked. Okay? So in English, you need 2 things. You're always going to need your little quotation marks. These guys. Here, let me get a purple. There you go. So you need those guys so that you can see that it's, it's quoting, you're talking. And you need to be told how you say it. Okay? That's where these come in. She asked. So I know I'm actually asking something. Now, we have a couple of other ones. Said. Said is a word you guys would all know. It's a very common one. I said sorry. I said hello. It's when you just say something like that. Asked. Asked is always a question. Okay? But you are asking the question. Replied is what you would do to it. So that one's related to questions too. Okay, but when you're asking and the other you're answering. Okay, so I could say, did you do your homework? She asked. No. She replied. Okay, so that's how you would use those 2. She asked a question and you replied for the answer. Now, you'll notice all of these words, they're in the past. You have the id on each one. Screamed, whispered, replied, asked, said. Said is irregular, remember? Okay? That's because when you're talking about dialogue, you're always talking in the past, something you've already done when you're in writing. Okay? You're not going to say, you could say in the dialogue in the present, I say so. She said. Because you're always sort of repeating an action that has already happened. So when you use these words, you're always in the past. Now, your next ones. These ones are a little bit more vocabulary. Whispered. Now, whispered is something I ask you to do all the time when we're in class and we're working together and you're super loud. Whispering is like this. It's when you bring your voice down really low. Okay? That's whispered. Whispered. That's it. screamed is the opposite of whispered. Now, I'm actually going to add an extra one down here, because I just thought that there's a difference between these two words, and it's a weird thing to know. Screamed. Ah! That was a horrible scream. But a scream in itself is usually like you scream at it because you're scared, or you scream maybe at somebody, but it's like a ah type of scream. Okay? Yelling is something that you often do with words. So I could say, "Don't do that," she yelled. And it's just when you raise your voice. So yelling is the opposite of whispered. And screaming is what you do when you're more scared. Okay? If I had to put these in French, let's say said, dire, asked, c'est demander. Replied is répondre. Whispered is chuchoter, and I have no idea how to spell that. Chuchoter? Maybe it's an S? I don't know. French spelling was never something I was good for. But when you chuchote, it's whispered, okay? Okay. Screamed, I guess, directly translated would be like hurler. And then yelled would be more like crier. Okay? So, your optional task for your vocabulary lesson this week is to try to give me some dialogue. It'd be good if you could do, well, you could probably do all of them. There's only 6. So, make me a sentence. I like apples, she said. Do you like apples? She asked. I don't like apples, she replied. Do you like apples? She whispered. Ah! She screamed. Stop talking about apples, she yelled. Okay? Don't forget these things. Super important. I'm not sure if you can see me anymore. Your quotation marks. In English, it looks exactly like the comma. Exactly like that. But it's upside down. So it's like an upside down comma and backwards, technically. I don't know. I really need a bigger whiteboard. Okay, I hope that wasn't too confusing. I'll take photos of these and put them on Classroom, so maybe it can be a little bit clearer for you. Okay?
Yeah.